Yeah. So we can start at any time. Do you want to do the honors, B?
He's your guest. You insisted on having him.
No, I didn't. I was like, let's not have him.
Fine, I'll do it. Oh, like when the guests are not okay, they're my guests now?
No, but good idea.
Go with the silent treatment. Go with the silent treatment. That's all you're good for.
Oh, come on, just start, man. Start. I'm bored. It's 10:14 p.m. Come on.
Fine. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Church Mouse Chronicles. And we're joined by a very special guest in our series of very special guests.
They're called Church Mouse guests.
Name pending. So, Jason, would you like to give a brief introduction?
Oh, I'm supposed to introduce myself? Oh, that's
Oh, not necessarily. I mean, we can do it for you, but I don't think you're gonna like
it. Welcome, Church Mices. I've been a big fan of you. Coming up about 5 months now since I've been following you on Instagram, YouTube, and all of the content has actually gone has streamed through my body somewhere. Mainly it's been audio because I don't really like watching webinars as in podcasts on YouTube. So I just listen to them. I've turned them on. And I remember once Milos was very kind enough to actually mention me and say I was something good that happened in his life in the last 6 months. I was like, wow, I feel very attached to this podcast. I think it was at the end of last year.
I feel set up now because I don't remember that.
Well, it's like that being gratitude. And then the other thing I really liked was when you talk with on a park bench with a priest or someone, and I enjoyed that too. So thank you guys. And yeah, I'm just a 27-year-old living in Argentina, brought up in South London, big fan of Chelsea. Big fan of the UFC, like marketing. That's really about it. Oh, and I do a little bit of surfing and that type of stuff when I have some time on the weekends. And I have 2 dogs, two savage wolves that I've honed.
Oh no, come on! FYI, the dogs have their own Instagram.
We'll link it down below, guys. It's sponsored, yeah.
What dog doesn't have Instagram these days? Also, for legal purposes, I have to know that Jason is M's employee, and everything that it says about M needs to be interpreted through the prism of that said occurrence.
No.
Amber Alert.
Jason is not my employee. Jason is a colleague of pretty much the same status as I have. That being said, let's not talk about that. I've heard recently that you've actually named the cat, B.
Yes. The cat now officially has a name. It's Chaslav. You can see it in one of my recent secondary channel episodes. Man, I'm starting to lose my thoughts.
Yeah, this is channel 4.
Yeah. Welcome to Channel 4, Bucky's Kitchen.
Oh no!
And yeah, a friend of mine named him because her late cat looked nigh identical to him, and that Chaslav had such a good Slavic vibe. I think we had to adopt.
How do you pronounce the name of the cat? Sorry, how do you pronounce the name of that cat? Oh, Chastity.
No, I'll help. I'm pretty good at helping Jason pronounce stuff. So you know the dance cha-cha-cha, okay? And you know the word Slavic, right? You laugh, you Slav, and it's Chaslav. Chaslav.
Chaslav.
Exactly. You
nailed it.
You nailed
Like
it. That's the cat. Yeah, well, yeah, something like that.
We are also going to link a hilarious SNL skit called the Pantene commercial, which reminded me of this whole affair. So
Yeah,
I'll write it down.
so according to our customs, we are gonna call you by your initial, which is J, which also kind of makes sense because it should be your nickname, like Jason J. So cool, right? J, B, and M. That's it.
It's one of those letters that can be a name in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Making it pretty cool. Yeah, Jason, thank you for being our I was gonna say stalker because you actually said I was following your Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. But are you subscribed though? Do you know that we recently surpassed 1,000 subs?
Yes, I saw that on your last
big brain channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big.
No,
it's big deal.
It is big deal. Come on, guys.
It's not. Come on. It is for me because I've been waiting. No, I've been waiting for so long to get the ability for Church Mouse Chronicles to post on YouTube, to do like a status post, and we surpassed 1,000 users, which is the prerequisite, and we didn't get it.
Guys, I'm so happy that we passed that milestone because every so often Em would message me like, "We've lost a subscriber," and I was like,
it wasn't. No.
Did she die? Did she die or something? Because otherwise.
Well, there's a lot of dead profiles. There's a lot of dead profiles on the internet.
Yeah, probably half of our subs. Just
but you've got a lot of engagement on your videos. I always would drop down and watch the comments and translate them, and they're
oh yeah, if you ask me, to me personally, the biggest value is actually in comments. I know I get to talk to B, which is cool, but then the comments are my favorite part of the entire thing. But yeah, so.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, your microphone is really bad, B. Just so you know, it's awful. Like, just awful.
It's the phone. I could use the laptop one, which is even worse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you just invest in some better equipment. I'm just saying. I mean, we surpassed 1,000 users. Like, it's time, man.
True. So, Jason,
talk to me, Sia. Sia B. You watch Vikings?
Sorry, do I watch My Kings?
Vikings, Vikingos.
No. I think I'm probably the only person in the universe who hasn't watched Vikings.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm sure my mother and my father haven't either. But so if I say Sia B, you know what I mean?
I know what a seer is.
Okay, good.
But not a very specific seer.
But yeah, in Nordic religion system, the old Nordic religion system, you know what a seer is. You know the blind guy, pretty creepy guy.
I know what a seer means in English, and I would assume that they are related etymologically. So.
Yeah, but
it's
you know
actually mentioned in the Bible. It's mentioned in the Bible multiple times, actually. Well, in the John Nelson Darby's Bible, the one that I was given anyway.
Is it synonymous with
you actually have one here, you know.
Oh.
It's not in Serbian. It's not in Serbian, so I don't get it.
That is one very well-read Bible. There's
it is, and there's my initials.
Yeah, nice.
Ooh, like
Jordan Peterson. Nice.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Or JP Morgan.
JP Morgan.
We have a story about one of our saints, Saint John of Shanghai. He was a bishop, and he was about to visit some parish, and the priest there got hosted him, and he wanted to give him a prayer book, but he bought a new prayer book and he gave it to the saint, and he took it open and said like, "What kind of prayer book is this? It hasn't even been touched." So I think he would really compliment you on the state of your Bible.
But you know what? I'll be very honest with you. I hadn't read the Bible for about 2 weeks. And I read the Bible yesterday evening because I was encouraged to read John 9.
Mm-hmm.
A very interesting scripture, John 9, because it talks about man in his independent form. And there is man before God, not, man in subject to his father's household. When does the son, if he's not married, become independent in his way of God and his way of maturity?
Mm-hmm.
And, I've been going through some stuff, especially in the last couple of years, I'd say, ever since I was 21. I mean, I was a bit of a, in English, we have a saying that will probably be edited here on YouTube. It's douche, D-O-U-C-H-E.
Not gonna
douche
edit.
is somebody who's just, okay, somebody who's just got too much ego, I suppose. Doesn't want to see somebody else's point of view. And as a young guy, I was like, I don't understand this, I don't understand that, so screw you, like I'm going to do my thing. And I think when I was about 23, I had a real big shock in my life. Something really bad happened to me. I can share with you. I actually have never said this publicly, other than my friends and my family. But I was in a real difficult time, and I was pretty much broke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, broke, really broke, as in no assets, no cash, nothing. Been working in corporate for about 3 years, and I had a scare, and it woke me up. I was going to technically be a father, and a product of just accumulation of a lot of bad decisions. And when I woke up, I couldn't say from 23 onwards, I've just been a shining light, quite the opposite. But I've just had a little bit more retrospective, or I should say, less I've had the ability to be able to turn and look at myself in the mirror and say, okay, is what I'm doing the best thing for me and my future? Because at the end of the day, I often make the analogy that when you go on an airplane, if you've been on an airplane the last year, I don't think so. I don't think M has either. But when you're on an airplane, they tell you that when the mask falls down, you put on the mask first. And everyone's like, why wouldn't I? I've got to put on my kids' mask, my girlfriends, my boyfriends, my dad, my mom, my sister, my brother. No, because if you're not okay, you're going to add a burden to somebody else. So if you can save yourself, then you can definitely help other people. And if everybody thinks in that mindset, then many weights are shared and the light is a lot lighter. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, maybe since then, I think that I have been reading a little bit more, but not in the sense of, I remember when I was about 16, my father said to me, if you read the Bible, I'll buy you a drum set. And I love music. That's why I've got a guitar in the back. And I read the Bible through back to back in 7 months. And I was like 15, 16. Wow. And we had these little Bible planners. So you could read, it would tell you how many pages you had to read a day from different things. When you actually got through the end, you'd read all the Bible.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And as you get older, they're like children, like kids' Bible planners. They're kind of cool,
Hack the Bible reading planner.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a hacker. Yeah. Me and Em, we don't like people that hack things. We're quite anti-hack. So I recently have just started to pick it up a little bit more, But again, I'm not a big advocate or a big fan for pushing people down pushing the Bible down people's throats and saying, oh, you have to read it. And at the end of the day, there's so many versions, so many interpretations. I'm very liberal in my thought about vertical religions and groups and organizations. I am a believer in God and in Jesus Christ. And I believe in some extent in the Holy Spirit. I couldn't say that I am a living belief of that, but all I would say is I do think there are powers on earth. If they are the spirit or angels or the forces of evil or good, I wouldn't be able to put a name on them. But yeah, That's really my religious background. What about yours?
Apologetics video. This turns into an apologetics video, and we explain why the Holy Spirit is something that you have to believe in, and then we shove 3 Bibles down your throat.
Someone. Well,
Yeah.
we're just your typical run-of-the-mill Orthodox.
Yeah, literally. Run-of-the-mill Orthodox is the best possible description. Excluding maybe a little bit what online Orthodoxy is for some reason starting to turn into. I don't think we are that run-of-the-mill Orthodox, but just plain 2 guys from a Christian Orthodox country who came to I guess the realization that this is the guidelines / religion that we want to subscribe to. If you're not familiar with Orthodoxy, like B has a very, very big amount of content about it, but in short, it's the true church, like everybody else says, obviously. We definitely believe in the Holy Spirit. We actually proclaim our faith through the you might be familiar with it, the Nicene Creed, which is the proclamation of faith, basically, which was created in Nicaea in what was the year?
The first initial part of the creed was created in 325. And the second part of the creed was created in that, I think it was the first Council of Constantinople, I can't even remember. But it was towards the late 4th century. Maybe 389, for example. So.
Yeah, basically the early Christian church. By the way, the Roman Catholics and Eastern Orthodoxy split before, around the 1,000 years of Christianity, more or less because of a change in that Nicene Creed. More or less, really not that simple, of course, but still. That's what we believe in. I can't really speak it in English, gotta say. I've tried to learn it in Old Slovenian or Church Slovenian, because that's actually used during our divine liturgies, which would be an equivalent of Mass. I don't know how you perceive that. How you perceive that, but yeah, it's actually pretty simple. Not much has changed in Eastern Christianity when you compare it to those days of the Nicene Creed. Not much.
And can I ask you guys a question, because I'm intrigued about Orthodox.
You can, but you froze, and I'm not sure if BC is the same. Is he frozen for you?
Am I back?
Because I'm using my phone, I'm only seeing you, Em. So
really,
you can't see me?
Yeah.
No.
I can't.
Can you like reset your camera, like bling bling?
Yeah, of course. I have issues with Zoom many times.
Yeah,
how about that?
And now it's blank. You remember? It's blank. It's just a black screen. Okay. I think you're going to have to rejoin. Weird. I think that's the best way. Okay. I remember we actually had this issue. I don't know what happens.
Yes. Zoom.
Computer.
Windows? One sec, guys. I'll be right back.
A message to our sponsors. We are accepting sponsors.
We have 1,000 subs. Big brain.
We can get you maybe 1 customer.
Yearly.
I hope you're not contacted by a boating company or something.
Are you really going to pass on the opportunity to get 1 customer each year? 1 new customer. Wink, wink.
Again,
nudge,
if
nudge.
it's a boating company, that's not bad of a deal.
Yeah, maybe if there's it's all good. It's all good. We were playing a message for our sponsors.
Oh, okay. Patrons. No patrons. No, I was just going to ask you guys, do you believe that your religious movement or your church, are they open in talking to the media and being transparent about the principles and faith that they uphold?
About that,
I think
yes. About many
not
other
just
things, no. Like every other organization, there's
like
things.
if you're talking about fiscal responsibility, we are very poor regarding that.
Yeah,
Fiscal
yeah.
transparency.
Let me try to illustrate. Bless me, Father, could I ask you a question? Yes, sure, child, ask me a question. Father, or Vladiko, which would be, the
Yeah.
bishop. Would you
Your
mind,
Eminence.
Your Eminence, yeah, would you mind explaining to us, I don't know, a Bible verse or a saying of a saint or something like that, and you get like anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes of explanation. But then I have another question, Your Eminence, or your, Father. And yes, child, what's the second question? Does the church pay tax? Goodbye. That's pretty much, God bless you, goodbye. That's pretty much how that conversation would go.
But in general, yeah, I would say that we are pretty much open regarding our beliefs. Once you join, I don't think you're really surprised by anything. Oh, by the way, we believe in 50 gods or something.
No, I remember this guy, just so that I think it's a fun anecdote. He was like, he would proclaim himself to be Orthodox, Christian Orthodox, and he's from Serbia and whatnot. And, you think you know things, but if you don't go to church, you don't know what's going on in the church. You can only assume what's going on in the church. And being a Christian Orthodox country, a lot of people proclaim themselves as Christian and Christian Orthodox without really having the slightest idea in how worship looks like, how the religious practices look like outside of what they see on cemeteries and during weddings, right? So I remember I was a member of the church choir, and the church choir goes upstairs on the gallery, and he climbed up. He was a friend, and he was like, I want to sing with you guys. He seems to know some of the church, parts of the divine liturgy and whatnot. And then I remember, one part of the liturgy is we proclaim the Nicene Creed. We proclaim our faith together. Everybody speaks the Nicene Creed at once. And this guy, he was like scandalized.
Yeah.
He was scandalized by it. He was like, I'm scared. Everybody's speaking like you guys are brainwashed. And I remember I was like, dude, is this like your first time in a church? Like, what's wrong with you? And the second anecdote is by a friend of his.
Okay.
Who was like, who saw my cross as like my key ring cross.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wooden cross, and a Jesus, Jesus is represented on it. It's not an image. It's like let's call it sculpture for lack of a better word, because I suck at English. And he was like, remove that. The cross, Jesus on the cross. It's that's Catholic.
Oh man.
Yeah, sorry.
Too much of this mentality around.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing we deal with over here. People think they know things, think they understand, but you were born Serbian, you are probably an Orthodox Christian or an atheist, or I don't know. Recently, I've heard beliefs in the divine feminine, whatever that is. But I've heard about it. And then there's the vegans. Yeah, there's the vegans. Just kidding. Yeah.
But I'm curious, Jay, what prompted this question? Because I mean, is there any particular reason we would be quiet about some of our beliefs, or?
I guess there's more than one prompt.
Okay.
you know, I have grown up in a very much secluded Christian family, um, where faith is borderline obligatory. Um, and the consequences of not dealing with the faith, as in not adhering to the faith, is very drastic. And you know, like, you only have to have, we say in Spanish, 2 screws in the right direction to realize that, you know, the interpretation of the word of God doesn't start within a religious organization. It starts with a fear in your soul that what's going to, you know, where you're going to spend eternity. You know, like, do you believe in eternity? Do you believe in, I think that's the first question that rises up in anybody's heart is, you know, if I die, where am I going to go? You know, what am I living for? What's the purpose of time? What's the purpose of life, really, right? And I am a firm believer in that, you know, God is real. I see him in the ocean. I see him in the animals. I see him in love. I see him in happiness. I see him in sadness, you know, in anger and in joy. I think it's very, very clear, like the night turns to day, you know, the night turns to dawn and dawn turns to day. It's very, very clear that the power of God is there. But I would say the particularness of some religious groups that treat verticals of knowledge as exclusive and as mandatory is what I would say is would be very open to say it's a misinterpretation of the love of God, because I don't think anybody can claim, in other words, anybody can claim to be truly and utterly chosen. You know, like, I mean, really, who are we to say we are chosen? I mean, the reality is you can get a couple of intellectual people. Oh my God. You can get a couple of intellectual people in a room and accommodate some scriptures and fit your song. That's not impossible. You know, I mean, look, we're 3 smart people in one room. We could create a business, you know, we can make money. And if we wanted to adapt something to religious purpose to fit our tune and fit our lifestyle, it wouldn't be difficult. It's the same principle, you know, it's just problem solving. Now, what I find curious, and I would say I'm very incentivized to go deep into this, is why and how organizations have created a labyrinth of intelligence and extensive complexity to consider their faith is singular when it's not. Faith is not singular, and that's why God is the all God, the all Father is the, you might say, is I believe represented in many churches around the world. I've been to the wildest depths of Brazil and found really, really nice Christians that don't go to any church. They're very simple about their faith. You know, they believe in the very simple commandments. They believe in life, and they believe in what's right and what's wrong. And they're not Orthodox. They're not Catholic. They're Christians. They're leftover Christians from some organization, who knows where, who knows what. But personally, these organizations that have only been around for, you know, a couple of, you know, years, maybe a century and a half, maybe 2, maybe not even that. You know, how can we claim to be singular? How can we claim to be the divine calling or the divine linear? That's all I'm very much breaching secluded commandments by I'm not really in a church. I'm a bit of a limbo person in the sense I'm not in a church at the moment. I am very open, very transparent about what I struggle with and what I don't. As I said at the beginning, I don't struggle with the interpretation of God. I don't struggle with the belief in moral principles, but I do struggle with I'd say vertical thinking. When I mean vertical thinking is that we won't listen to anybody outside our silo.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Well, I don't know. The way I at least see it is that, to be quite honest, I do not have any issues with concept of a singular religion, because if we believe that God is one, then we should. To me, it makes sense that faith is one. However, the part where I do disagree with with vertical thinking is that just because sorry, I had a pop-up. But what I do disagree with vertical thinking is total dismissal of anything outside of the structure. I can find something very admirable about a Muslim who takes his faith much more seriously than I do mine, or maybe even a Buddhist, or maybe even a very kind-hearted atheist who does an amazing acts of love, of self-sacrifice. And there are cases of this. I mean, I think that sadly it was maybe a shtick in previous ages for people to dismiss and malign their ideological opponents by claiming that they're all hypocrites, they're all evil, that they do not practice what they preach. But I always felt that these claims were purely driven by the desire to keep the fold, you know, because having a nice person on the outside.
Can you just, sorry. Can you just say that again, just very slowly?
That these things were done in order to keep the fold.
Right. And what did you just say before that?
Oh,
they are done because why would they want to keep the fold?
I'm not really sure what are you referring to, because it evaporated. So that they would malign their opponents in order for precisely the reason to keep their fold, because having a nice person outside of the fold would raise some issues, in the sense of it complicates things. It is easier to have it black and white as opposed to shades of gray. And you can have a small O Orthodox person who's a complete monster. For example, I know priests who are no strangers to hiring thugs. I know these cases. On the other hand, I know like atheists who wouldn't hurt an ant, as it were, you know. And I do not think that we should shy away from these things and, for example, claim that all atheists would kill you if they're able, you know, or some other such reductions. This is just me, but you know, my interpretation of it is a complex issue.
Well, the reality is that I've discussed this many a time with M, but I am a big advocate for being open and transparent, because I've spent so much of my life not being that way. And the typical man, and when I mean typical, I mean people that are born, you know, baby boomers that have grown up, and they shy away from challenging because it exposed weakness, and that's a vulnerability, and that could compromise faith. Yeah. And the reality is that if you really cut the shy away from the argument, when I mean the argument, I mean the conversation of, is your faith singular or not? It's, are you in a position to listen or challenge your own faith, to believe in it more, you know, like to be more rooted? Because if you were authentically, you know, believing in it in all your might, it wouldn't be difficult to be challenged, because this works like the same as business, you know, businesses that don't want to be challenged about their values because they have something to hide. There is weakness. And you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if there's an organization or a twist or a version of a church or whatever it is that can't be challenged, then obviously it's because something isn't sustainable. That's what I believe.
Yeah. So a couple a couple of comments. First, I'd like to start with an individual. Um, if your faith is not challenged by the life that you're going through, I think something is wrong, simply because that might not be real faith. It could just be you fooling yourself, you forcing yourself to accept something, you forcing yourself to subscribe to something, you forcing yourself to follow a certain path. It's not organic, it's artificial. It's artificial. It's artificial. Like, your faith needs to be challenged. Like, look at this entire pandemic thing. For example, the Serbian Orthodox Church lost 5 bishops easily. 5 bishops. Don't tell me your faith wasn't a little bit challenged, B, it's a question for you.
Yeah.
But that being said, going back to the organizational level, it's a bit more complex. And first of all, Jason, you need to know that the Christian Orthodox Church, as well as the Roman Catholic Church, has centuries of apologetics and being called out on things left and right, and doing back and forth with many other newly formed Christian organizations, starting with the Protestant Reform. I'm not that good at history, but was it the 16th century? B, kill me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. It's 16th century.
Thank you. I mean, I read a book about it like less than a year ago, and I'm already forgetting. But the point is, we come from a church that exists for starting with when Jesus walked the earth, and there's a long history of being challenged on things and responding to it, and people learn about that in universities. So to that end, there are closed churches around the world, closed Christian organizations around the world. Like, I could even name a few that might be a bit different,
right?
Because they are looking kind of in the inside and not at all looking at the outside, and potentially regard themselves as a closed system, surrounded by other systems, exchanging matter and limited content with the systems around, in order for it to sustain itself, having this or that goal or purpose, or I guess version of how things should be done, and where everybody's going at the end of the day. I mean, for example, I've read, I don't know why I have this book. I think I just found it in my father's stuff sometimes in the past. It's two things. It's a Gideon Bible, and the other thing is a small book about creationism, which was printed by a Jehovah's Witnesses organization. And I read that little book about the creationist point of view and whatnot, and it ended up being saying something down the lines of, there is a literal number of people who are going to be saved, a literal number. It's like 144,000 souls, and that's it. I might have missed the number. I might have, I don't really remember. But
wait, just sorry, I'm the master interrupter. But when you said 140,000 whatever souls that would be saved from what?
So, saved from eternal damnation, or whatever you want to.
So you've got this parallel, right? You've got hell, fire, burning, terrible things, things that you dream about, like you could dream about and you'd be terrified of them. And then you've got this paradise, country scenario, which is just for the exclusive and the elite. long
Yeah,
silence.
yeah, but that's the problem. The exclusive and the elite. That's the key. That's basically the key. And what strikes me in these kind of situations is this: whoever you are, you know, you just went ahead and said, you know, there's a limited number of people who are going to be saved, and we know the exact number, you know, and potentially somebody who is leading the organization or is big in the organization, a lieutenant, as they would say, you know, has the power to this, in some cases, to literally decide, you know, who's going to be a part of that elite. And that being said, it is in direct contradiction with how Jesus spoke when he walked the earth, uh, which is basically, you know, I don't know when the world is going to end. You know, only God the Father knows. I don't know. You know, but then organizations like this will go ahead and literally predict the exact date, and we've been a witness of different Christian movements obviously getting the date wrong multiple times, even changing the date, moving the date, etc., etc. So basically, what it comes down to is, you know, from my perspective, you can judge them by the merit of how Jesus behaved when he walked the earth. You know, what was what he created an exclusive community? Did the people who followed him, did he, like, you know, handpick them? Well, not including the apostles, but did he handpick everybody who was, you know, following him, who listened to him speaking? No. I unfortunately I can't quote the Bible in English, but I know what I would say. Um,
I
so
often
be
think of that, yeah, that meal, that meal that Jesus sat down with sinners, and, you know, obviously converted sinners.
Yeah. Did he ask who you are? You know, give me your membership card so that I can
Yeah, or
feed you with this.
you born?
Yeah.
Or were you born with the tag? You know, I'm pretty convinced that the digital tag is something that's going to happen, and it's going to be very apostate to Christianity.
The
But
tag of the
it's, on the
beast.
other hand,
The
yeah, of
QR code
course,
of the beast. By the way, you're frozen
of
again.
course. Oh, am I? I'm probably being raptured. See you on the other side, guys.
Yeah. Boom. Yeah. Can you you know, turn it off and on again, so that we can.
Am I back?
No, it's black. Yeah, it's black.
Okay, one sec.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We need an IT guy in the podcast for
Yeah,
this situation.
technical difficulties are always going to be. Do you know, I had to buy a subscription to Zoom.
Well, you clearly did not buy some customer support pack. We need a customer support person too.
Of course. Loving your comic, by the way.
Yeah.
Loving it.
Oh, wait until it unfolds.
No. So, what's your name? Guardian Angel is just fine. I want to make it more personal. Why? Are you treating me some other Guardian Angel that I know about? Oh dear God, it's brilliant. I love it. Yeah, sorry, Jason. Do continue.
Heaven was amazing. I just popped in to say hello. Yes.
You need to write a book, my man, about your experience.
I would really, do you know, I really want your thoughts on this, guys. So when I moved to Argentina, I was 9 years old. I lost all my primary friends and landed up in Argentina. And this isn't a sob story, quite the opposite. I'm blaming proud of experiences, you know, like I think they make you who you are. So this is not a poor me story, but then, you know, I did the schooling thing here, and then you went overseas, and then got forced to live with my uncle in the UK, who treated me like crap, you know, like actually beat me up once, suffered a lot from depression, got very fat. Then when I was about 20, I decided to lose a lot of weight and lost about 40 kg, which is about 80 pounds. found my center in fitness and fitness lifestyles and healthy lifestyle. You know, I used to, and I had a few relapses between then, you know, and pretty much sobered up completely by the time of 24. You know, I struggled with substances for some time. And the reality is that, wow, like, I mean, I look back on my life. I mean, I often talk with my friends or, you know, business partners or anybody who trusts me and will have the time and patience to listen to me. Like, life is just an accumulation of moments, you know, and the more you can share them with other people and listen to other people's moments, then I think it's an enriching experience. And at the end of the day, like, it's just we're all figuring it out as we go along, you know. That's all I'd say humbly. We're all figuring it out, and I'm just happy to be part of the process. And I find some peace in accepting my destiny, you know, my fate, you know, like, my trust is in God. I believe in moral principles, and the rest is process. You know, as Milos would say, trust data. Do you know what I mean? Just run with the ball. You know, like football, just play the game. We don't. So that's, yeah. We should write a book. Maybe we could call it The Extension of the Church Mouse Chronicles with a Anglo-Saxon streak.
Yeah, just
Church.
yeah. The only reason why I appreciate Jason is he is a Brit, but he's using the decimal system. He's using centimeters. The metric. Thank you. Sorry. He's using meters and kilograms and Celsius.
Wow.
Yeah, like imagine that. He's a Brit. Like, imagine you don't have to convert stuff, you know, and he's using the right system. So yeah, you're basically one step away from orthodoxy. Now back to some context. Back to some context. I don't want to call you out, Jason, because I value you as a friend. Then maybe a little bit as a colleague, but I respect your feelings. But the thing is, there's some context here which I'd like to give to B. Jason challenged the system he was brought up in.
Mm-hmm.
The entire system, he challenged it, and there are consequences that many would find unbearable. I know I would, really. I actually, in a way, admire you for having the strength to deal with that, because it's very, very hard. I will not go into any details unless you do, but that's the soul. You know, he was a part of a secluded Christian community, which he basically challenged, and that's why I think he is now at this stage where, you know, he's basically challenging his own belief, just what we said, you know, challenging himself, his own faith, and I know we are maybe not the right people to facilitate that, but at least you're gonna get an honest opinion or conversation, at least from me. B is questionable.
You can count on getting a trolley answer. I try.
Yeah, he does try, but it's take it or leave it.
Yeah, I get
kind of humor.
I guess it's a bit of a long story, you know, and I'm the guest here and should be doing the listening, not the talking, but I don't really know where to start, but let's cut the timeline very short. So I lived a pretty normal life up until about 20. And I never questioned anything, in the sense of, I question everything, but I never questioned anything, you know, in depth. You know, if I ever questioned anything, it was just because Dad said I couldn't do this, so I wanted to do that. Just typical teenage, you know, childhood years. But when I was 20, I shouldn't say fell in love, but found a girl that I quite liked, and obviously she wasn't part of the church. I met her at a skating park because I like surfing and skating and board sports. That's why I've got a smashed up knee. Yes, I actually have a biological knee. I fell in love with her. Like, I mean, I was a kid, you know, like you just fall in love with somebody. You know, she had beautiful blue eyes and she was good at skating. And I remember coming home and I was very open about it. And I was told that if I followed that path, I would go to hell.
Ouch. 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 Ouch.
Can you
And
just
that was
just like expand on follow what path?